journey to career coaching and resume writing is different than a lot of coaches. So I don't have an executive background. I don't have a recruiter background, but instead I started on Fiverr. I literally charged $5 to do resume reviews and to write LinkedIn profile summaries for people. And then over the course of 4 years, I started really niching down in Silicon Valley and high tech. And that was completely by accident. It was just geographic wise because most of my clients came from LinkedIn, from Craigslist, from referrals. And then about 3.5, almost 4 years ago, I made the leap of faith to doing this full time. And all of my knowledge is from talking to literally thousands of recruiters and hiring managers about what they were looking for. So if a client wanted to work at Facebook, I would go talk to a recruiter at Facebook and say, hey, what are you looking for? If someone wanted to work at Amazon, I would ask them. And then in my very last job before making the leap of faith, I also led a team of 23. So I have that direct experience hiring, coaching, and leading people as well. So there is a lot more demand and a lot less supply on the job market as a result of the pandemic. So if you want to land a job, particularly in Silicon Valley or high tech, where a lot of people want to work, you really have to identify what sets you apart from other 250 or 1,000 people applying for that role. You have to figure out what makes you fabulous, what your secret sauce is, and why someone should hire you over those hundreds or not thousands of other applicants. So really that's your goal as a job seeker, is to help the recruiter say, here's what sets you apart from everyone else. The other thing is you want to get really specific with the companies and positions you're targeting. A lot of people just apply for everything. And I'm a huge proponent of focusing on quality over quantity. I encourage my clients to send me a handful of jobs they're targeting before they start writing their resume or their cover letter and networking. And the more specific you can get, the more likely you are to land a job, because a recruiter is looking for someone with A, B, C, D, E, and you want your documents to say A, B, C, D, E on them. And if you're applying for a bunch of different jobs, you're just not going to be successful in doing that matchup on your resume, your LinkedIn, your cover letter. More companies are going remote first and remote friendly. So what's happening is there's way more jobs on the market because you're not geographically bound in regard to where you're applying. However, on the flip side, there's way more people applying for those same roles. So there's a ton more competition and people you have to compete against. So your job as the job seeker is to really figure out what sets you apart from all of those people and recognize recruiters aren't just looking for candidates who are in the Bay Area, but they say, now I can recruit anyone in the US or perhaps Canada or Europe. It's really expanding where people can recruit from. And as a job seeker, you have to really figure out what sets you apart from everyone else. And then the second trend I'm seeing is a lot of companies are really focusing on how can we cultivate a sense of belonging in the workplace. Diversity, inclusion, equity, they've been getting a lot more attention over the last few years, but companies are recognizing if employees feel like they belong, they're going to perform better. So companies are saying, how can we make people feel like they belong? Even when they're in a remote workforce, how can we foster really a culture of belonging so people can perform better and they stay with us and don't leave in a year or two? I'm unique from a lot of coaches, resume writers, people on LinkedIn that I don't have a content calendar. So instead of saying, here's what I'm gonna write for the week or the month, I instead like thinking of Gary Vee and really documenting rather than trying to create all this special content just for LinkedIn. And when it comes to the work I do with job seekers, I'm different also in that I really try and help them rethink, recreate, reimagine their career stories and how they're sharing those stories with recruiters and hiring managers. So when I share posts, I say, how can I help people rethink how they're sharing these stories through my posts? And I also think of Amy Porterfield. What she says is with every post, you want to educate, you want to entertain, you want to inspire. So whenever I write a post saying, okay, here's what I'm going to tell job seekers, I then say, am I also educating? Am I entertaining? Am I inspiring? And then if I've done that, I know it's successful. And then the cherry on top is, how am I helping people share their fabulousness? Because that's my goal, is really a world where everyone's able to share their fabulousness. So if I'm exuding that and then pulling it out of people, I know my post is successful. I don't say, okay, here's my business self, here's my career self or job search advice, and then here's my personal self, I really work to blend it. In other words, I say, here's my fabulousness and all of it. Here's my partner's fabulousness and all of it, and not try and divide the two. And I found that really resonates with people, so that when they hop on the phone with me, I don't have to sell them. They feel like they've known me. And people share, hey, Kyle, I've been following you for 4 years since this was a side hustle. I've been following you since you literally charged $5 on Fiverr for resume reviews. I feel like I know you. I feel like I know your partner, JV. I always am looking for what bag he has next. And I don't have to sell people because they feel like they really know me. So that's my goal. And when I have posts that are really about me beyond just my business or beyond my clients' careers, those are the ones that really resonate with people. And they say, oh my gosh, you're speaking directly to me, Kyle. A lot of people post content and then just wait for people to come, and they're very passive. So I encourage you to be active. Think about, how can I authentically post content and then engage with my target audience rather than just waiting for people to reach out to me. And then second, think about how I can move beyond jobs and careers, not just saying, here's how to look for a job, here's how to write a resume, here's how to interview. Everyone talks about that. Say, how can I share my full self? For me, for example, that's sharing about being in a gay relationship. It's sharing that I live with mental health challenges. It's talking about balancing a busy business and getting my doctorate degree. So think about ways to go beyond just sharing boring, to be honest, tips about resumes and interviewing, and say, how can I show up authentically and wholeheartedly and be my holistic self on LinkedIn? And not just to do it to be vulnerable, but to do it in order to show up as your real self and connect with other people. And you're going to have people reaching out to you as a result.